Rob, I appreciate Ruminate so much because it's so simple to record this show compared to now all the ones that I do with video. I just like pressing record and chatting with you. It makes my life a lot easier.
Yeah, there's no video here.
No video.
Nobody needs to see whatever's going on over here because I am very tired.
Yeah, it's late for you, and I'm just coming off a weekend of not feeling super, super well myself, but I'm doing all right in general. And yeah, so we're here. We're back with Ruminate. I mean, it's been a while. We actually, behind the curtain, we actually recorded that last episode kind of early because I was going to CES. And of course, you asked me how my CES was, which is kind of necessary if someone heads out to Vegas for CES these days and they're a fan of Bonanza. So you asked me, I told you, gave you the bubble, sent the bubble balls to you and Matt, and yeah, it was a good time. Good time.
Well, given that I am feeling a bit rough, what about some soup you can suck on?
Oh,
which I cannot believe is the headline.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This, I think, really is real because I've now heard about it from multiple people. That doesn't necessarily make it true, I suppose. I mean, here I am.
I think it's real. I saw Jason Cockey post about it today.
Yeah. I think that might have been the link that Stephen Hackett sent me, but Jennifer saw it somewhere like in Apple News or something too the other day and asked me about it and said, you and Rob should try these. I was like, I'll take a pass on that.
Yeah. I mean, no.
Yeah.
Do not want this ever.
These are like, I guess, throat lozenges that are supposed to taste like chicken soup made with the Progresso soup brand. And they come in a can that looks a little bit like a soup can is what I mean, that's about all there is to it, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, it seems to be. This press release really talks a lot about the soup brand and I guess how soup makes you feel better when you're ill.
Yes.
Which, I don't know. That's not a thing I do, but I guess people do that.
Yeah. This is more like the idea of the soup is supposed to make you feel better, I think. Because I can't imagine that the throat lozenge, which is, I guess, candy? I don't know. I don't know if it counts as candy, if it's like dried up soup pellets or whatever these are.
Yeah, well, so they're releasing these every Thursday for the rest of the month because it's National Soup Month.
Oh.
So
I should go look for these. You know where I would find them, Rob? The place that has the endless supply of Ruminate snacks, which is our local CVS pharmacy. Did you hear that ring on the doorbell? I think that is my guy. Let me peek out the window and see if he's actually leaving. All right, he left it at the door, which is what he was supposed to do. I thought I would need a signature. You can leave all this in, Rob. I'm taking delivery of another handheld for the podcast next portable console. and these packages coming from China, it's a very slow route, circuitous route from China to America, and I am taking delivery of an Odin portal. So what I was saying though is that the origin of all snacks that are good and that are on Ruminate is the local CVS pharmacy in my town, because it's like right a block away from a college, and college students, they love a good snack. They tend to be good connoisseurs of good snacks. And that's where I found the Shackalicious XL gummies, which are gummy candies in peach, berry, punch, and orange with the giant head of Shaquille O'Neal. Because why not chew on Shaquille O'Neal's head?
And these are, okay, I'm looking at these. Are they nice?
I don't know. I didn't actually buy them. I saw them. I thought to myself, these are just going to taste like Haribo gummies or some other gummies. And I've done many gummies in my life. I don't need to have them in the shape of Shaquille O'Neal's head.
Yeah, I think it's okay. We're reporting. We don't necessarily need to.
Yes, this is not a review. This is just a report. But I will say, at least from the exterior package, it's an uncanny resemblance I kind of doubt that the actual candy looks as close to Shaq's likeness as this image on the outside of the bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty close on the picture. I can't believe for a second the sweets actually look like that.
Yeah, just imagine Shaquille O'Neal, but his head is either red or orange or blue, basically.
Yeah.
So that was my snack. The other snack I have for the show today, which I actually did try, and so I will give a mini review, is the Lay's all-dressed potato chips. Now, I was at the store about a week ago and I saw these. I'm like, what is that? And basically it's an everything but the kitchen sink seasoning potato chips. So they just like, you know what? We have all these seasonings. Let's just throw them all on there and see what sticks. And so they taste oniony and garlicky, a little bit like barbecue. They've got a little vinegar on them. So they've got a little bit of that salt and vinegar flavor to them. They've got kind of a tomatoey flavor. It's like the bag says. They're all dressed. They've got everything on them. And I would say they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I'm going to eat all of these, I think. I'm not going to get rid of these. I'm not going to try to give them away to someone.
Yeah, this all dressed, I think, is a flavor that seems to be showing up a lot more, even in the UK now.
Oh, really? This is the first time I've come across it.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be doing the rounds. I had some a while ago from the shop that's near my office. It wasn't the Lay's ones, it was Walker's, I guess. In the UK, it was something else.
I think Walker's and Lay's are the same thing, aren't they? Just different regions?
Wow.
Or close?
That sounds like a topic for Ungenius, I think.
Oh, okay. Did I just start like an international incident or something?
No, yes, they're the same company, but also they're not somehow. I vaguely remember looking this up.
Okay.
But yeah, all dressed. I mean, it was pretty good the times I tried it. So yeah, I don't blame you for picking these up.
Yeah, they're quite good. I looked them up on Amazon. If anyone wants to try them, they are available on Amazon. I think they're, at least in the US store, I think they're shipping from Canada. And so they're kind of expensive as a result. But they also compare with similar items. They have smoky bacon potato chips, which I've not seen those. So that's a flavor out there that I'm going to have to check out.
Oh, smoky bacon is very common in the UK.
I
can get those in any shop pretty much.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the snack corner for today.
Yeah. Well, that was a good snack corner.
It was good.
I feel like I want one of the soup drops now.
I feel like I
can't.
Oh yeah. Well, you did say you're not feeling great. I am going to probably follow up this recording with some all dressed chips because it's late in the afternoon. It's going to be a while before Jennifer's home for dinner. I'm going to maybe have a few chips.
I think that's reasonable. I think you should do it.
All right. Very good. Very good. So what else do we want to talk about today? What do you have on your agenda?
This is kind of funny because you've sort of mentioned it. We've mentioned it in jest a few times over the years. But I started doing bullet journaling.
Yeah, BuJo is what you got to say, Rob. I'm not going to let you talk about this topic without saying BuJo.
I spent quite a while trying to work out like why have they gone with BuJo, and then I realized that like the initials would just be
bullet journaling,
and that's not
good either.
Right,
true.
That's not. Yeah,
you don't want to do that, but you can still call yourself a big BuJo boy.
I mean, I could.
BBB.
I should.
I'm going to call you a big BuJo boy.
Amazing. Yeah, like, so this, all jokes aside, I mean, it's whatever. It's a system for getting your to-dos done.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I felt like I was losing track of everything. Like I was dumping everything in like 10 different places.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd give it a go. What do I need? A notebook and a pen.
Yep.
Like that's fine. I've picked a terrible time to get into this as well because like
Why?
I'm not at work at the moment.
Oh, right.
So I don't really have like a good routine going.
Yeah.
Like, cause I'm at home, I've been off with the new baby.
Right.
So, the idea that I can do like in the morning, like, what do I need to do today? Like, that's not happening because, we have baby and children.
Right.
So, I'm sort of doing this weird version of it where, it is working, but I'm certainly not, I don't think I'm getting the most out of it that I probably could and hopefully will do once I'm back into a bit more of a routine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I mean, I hear you on losing track of things. I've been down, every holiday season, I kind of go through a similar routine of trying to reevaluate all the apps I'm using, the services, the workflows, figure out if there's a way I could do things better, easier, faster, whatever it happens to be, carve out more time for myself. And I have at times in the past, quite a long time in the past now, been very into not necessarily bullet journaling per se, because I really don't have a good handle on the process other than I know that there's this system of indexing your notes and moving from page to page and day to day, whatever it is. I have used notebooks in the past and been into them and done things like that, but pretty much an all digital person on that stuff now.
Yeah, I totally get that. I think it's, for whatever, I think that there's a million studies out there that show if you write something down, it is better. I think we all know that.
You'll remember it.
Whether we do it or not. But whatever. I just wanted to try something different, and I figured this is as good a thing as any to try. I will say I bought and I read the book that goes with it. The systems.
Is this by the inventor of the inventor of bullet journaling? Okay.
Yeah. It's because I watched a bunch of the videos that he's done.
Mm-hmm.
He has big cult leader energy. He's just clearly a smart guy, but
that's very true. I think of an awful lot of productivity stuff, which is right adjacent to self-help. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
which is kind of why I kind of make fun of productivity schemes a bit, mainly because I feel like there is a category of them that are designed to make you feel bad about yourself, and then you'll be better if only you give me your money type of thing. But this is this is not that. I don't think this is kind of a proven system that I know a lot of people use and enjoy. So I mean, it's certainly not true of all productivity systems. It's just that there are grifters amongst the the people doing good.
Yeah, I think actually, in the videos and in the book as well, there is a lot of emphasis on you don't need to buy their notebook or their pens or whatever.
Right.
You can just use
the system,
whatever you've got. And I do believe that's genuine. I don't think it's I don't think they're pretending. I think, they're genuinely just no, you can use whatever. Yeah. I will say two things I noticed from the book, and I feel like this is common with every self-help and or business book.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, a story about Warren Buffett. I mean, are you even a business book?
Of course.
Are you even a self-help or business book if you haven't got a story about Warren Buffett?
Right. That's great.
And that was I was probably about a quarter of the way through, and I thought, there it is. Okay, I feel better now.
Check mark. Put a check in your BuJo.
Yeah, exactly. And then the second one, and I feel like this is very common with business books, even more so than self-help books, is that the author has inexplicably had this experience where they knew these people that happened to need their help, and it all fits nicely into that chapter, and go, well, see, look what happened with all these people I met. And it's there is no way any of that is true.
Yeah.
It's whatever. It's a book. It's making a point, but you don't need to pretend this thing happened to you. You can just make up a story and say, this is an example, but.
Right. Now, I will tell you the third truism of business books is that they're all too long. They have one or two good points, and then they just keep saying the same thing over and over again. I don't know.
This definitely has a little bit of that. It's probably about right, I think, for the most part, but then the back end of the book gets into a bit more self-helpy, like
Yeah.
reflection and which is not necessarily what I'm using it for.
Sure. Yeah, all right. Well, that's good. I mean, I applaud you for taking a step in the direction of finding a new way to get your stuff done. That's good. I think writing things down really does make a difference. And that's one way, like it used to be when I did a lot of research in legal stuff, I did a lot of writing things down, or I would write down everything I had to do. It was very much like bullet journaling in the sense I would write everything I had to do during the day. And then I would start a new page for a new day, and I would kind of carry over things, and I would sometimes refer back to stuff. And I had like a system. It was pre-BuJo days, so it wasn't really that, but it had some similarities. So yeah, I enjoyed that. These days I'm still using Godspeed. It was really struck me about Godspeed this week, Rob, is that I realized that whole keyboard driven thing is very much, I think that you can trace all this stuff back to Superhuman. Because I actually tried Superhuman, which now allows people
Sorry, I'm laughing. Did you get forced to try it?
No, I did not get forced to try it. I was not forced. Yes, Federico is using it, and he mentioned it. They mentioned it on Connected, and Mike said he felt sorry for me because I'd be forced to use it. And I was not forced to use it. I actually did. It was because I knew he was using it, but I thought, I looked at the site. I was curious because I had looked at their website like years ago when it was new and it was in the beta. And I was super turned off back then because one, it was an Electron app, and I was much more negative about Electron and apps in those days because there really were no good ones. Now that's kind of changed. Two, I was turned off because they had no free trial. Three, it was super expensive. And four, it had these Silicon Valley CEO productivity vibes that I thought were just kind of off-putting. And some of that's still there, but now it's still expensive. It still has weird CEO vibes from Silicon Valley, but they do have a 30-day free trial. At least I got one when I went there. And the app actually is pretty good. It's Electron still, but it's actually performant. And when I started using it, I was like, oh, well, this is just Godspeed, but for email. It has all the like stuff where you just hit single letter keys to do stuff, and it's pretty good. But I don't think I'm gonna do it. I see why they didn't give away free months in the old days, because I was able to basically clean up my email in 3 days, and now I don't need Superhuman. I mean, it would be good for continuing to keep my email in check, but I think I'm going to use something else instead. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. It was, so I was doing that, and that was how I kind of realized Godspeed was like that. And then I started having this moment where I was thinking, well, I'm going to try some other stuff. So I went back and I tried Notion Calendar, and Notion Calendar, another electronic app, quite good though, but it's only Gmail. And I started realizing that I'm realizing that the Mac, what has become of Mac software? It's all Electron apps, web services, and things tied into Google accounts. Because like Superhuman only works with Gmail. So do a bunch of other ones. Same with Notion Calendar, only works with Gmail. No iCloud, no iCal, none of that stuff. And I was a little sad because I like native apps. But I also thought, well, you know what? It's kind of the way it is now. I mean, native apps aren't going away. On the other hand, a lot of this productivity stuff, it's really mostly on the web now.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm just looking through my applications now, and I feel like the only things that I have that are native apps are small utility things.
Yeah.
So, sound source, sleeve, rectangle, things like that. Like all these sort of small little utility things are native. You know, they're built for the platform. But then if you go to anything that's even remotely bigger, it's Obsidian, Godspeed, Notion, any of this stuff, it's all just Electron, because it's all web apps. Like it's
right.
We're not even really running apps were just running little mini browsers.
And I kind of hate it. On the other hand, there are actually good web apps now. There didn't used to be. I mean, I felt like I never liked any of Google's products. I've always thought they were really poorly designed and don't work the way I would want them to work. But you look at something like, Notion works pretty well. I'm not really a fan of Notion either, to be honest. I mean, it works well for what it is. It's just not, I like just straight up plain text, though. I don't like that block style stuff. But their calendar app's really good. The Superhuman, Godspeed, Obsidian, they're all really good apps. And there are a bunch of other ones out there, too. I mean, I've been following along with the Club Mac Stories Discord. There were some people talking about some other things they've been using for task management, and a lot of people are turning to web apps for that too. I mean, Todoist obviously is another one. There are a bunch of them out there.
Yeah, there really is. And like you say, I think a lot of these are really good. Now, at least, I remember when we started Ruminate and we would talk about Electron apps, and they were really bad back then.
Yeah, they really were.
But that just isn't the case now.
I think it's a combination of things. I think people have gotten better at building Electron apps, but I also think our computers have gotten to the point where they can handle Electron better.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. I will mention while we're talking about it, the Godspeed actually is, because obviously we spoke about me using it for to-dos and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's working really well as a companion for my bullet journal, because
oh, good,
especially at the moment, because I'm not at a desk all day because I'm at home with the baby or whatever,
right?
So I'm using Godspeed to just quickly enter things. So I'm just like, right, I need to remember this or do this thing, and then when I do get a chance to sit down, I can just look at whatever I've dumped in Godspeed and then just write it down and tick it off in there, because the quick add shortcut thing they have is perfect for this.
Yeah, and a lot of that kind of interaction is very much reflective of what Superhuman does. But what's different about Godspeed, the thing that, and I know I've said this before, but it blows me away that Godspeed is so poor on the iPad and the iPhone compared to the Mac. The thing about web apps is that they should be pretty much equivalent everywhere, and they really aren't with Godspeed. And that's the one thing that's kept me from fully committing to it. I've got my ways around it. I'm using, for shortcuts, I'm using their API a lot, which helps because I have things available to me that I don't have available otherwise. And the iPhone app's pretty good. It's just that the iPad app is really bad. I think what I need to do is try creating a PWA for it, because they do have a web app that's in beta. Mm-hmm. And so that might be a solution that will work for me. I know Federico has been doing that with some of the web apps he's been using, because I think one of the things about web apps is a lot of them are notoriously bad on the iPad.
Yeah.
That
is,
I mean,
yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. All of which kind of leads me to this corollary to this, which is apps with AI. And I'm not a big fan of I went through this ad nauseum in the summer. I do not like how large language models were trained on the open web, and basically people just taking what they wanted to train those models. However, I do find a lot of the tools, especially the assistive ones, not the generative tools in general, but the assistive ones to be useful. And I've been using things like granola.ai, which is takes meeting notes, and I've been doing other things. I've been building some scripts and things like that using ChatGPT. But it's funny, when an app really has a deep integration with AI, I feel bad about using it. And I think I'm kind of with AI where I was with Electron maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah. I totally get it. I mean, I think it is being forced into every possible product you can think of. Anything, any bit of software you can think of, it's going to have AI injected into it just because that's what people.
Right.
I'm not even sure it's what people want. I think it's what investors want. I think it's what the big business boys want.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced people want it. There are people who want it. Obviously, clearly people are using it, but I don't think there's like a majority of customers at any random bit of software that's like begging for AI to be added.
No, it's useful in certain. The problem is that people are trying to put it in literally everything. I even saw a barbecue with AI in it when I was at CES, but but the thing is that it just doesn't belong everywhere, and it's not as useful everywhere. And it is useful for things like, I do think that there's a place for it for like wrangling large quantities of data that you have to deal with regularly, whether it's whether it's coding or whether it's dealing with large spreadsheets, or maybe it's large quantity, maybe it's project planning or even your email, whatever it is. There are places where it can help filter information or surface things that work better than search and that kind of stuff. But it doesn't work equally well everywhere. And I am playing around with it in various places. So I'm hoping to find the places where it works best for me. Right now, one of the best is this Granola AI, because you can just kind of like turn this thing on while you do a Zoom call, and it will create notes for you afterwards, and they're pretty good. And it's a handy thing to have.
You sent me the notes. I believe it was the last episode we recorded.
Yeah.
Or maybe we had a meeting. I can't remember. We did something, and you sent me the notes, and I was absolutely blown away by what it was able to summarize based on the way we talk. Because we're not. Even before we record, we're not talking in a formal way, saying, "Hello, John, this is what I would like to talk about."
Right.
But it was still able to know that we were talking about Mac Stories things, and then we were talking about Ruminate things and CES and everything else. And it was able to get all of that, and it genuinely was very impressive.
Yeah. And so it's one that I'm, I don't have a lot of meetings, and this is like a $10 a month service. But it has 25 free meetings, and I've been using I'm still not through my 25 free things yet, because that could be 6 months for me unless I really start using it for podcasts. And it is potentially an interesting tool for podcasts, only because you can feed it custom templates, which are essentially custom prompts, where you can kind of describe what it is you're looking for in terms of format and what's important and what's not. And then it can create a set of show notes or just something you can refer back to, because you can correlate it back to the audio that it listens to. And so it has some potential benefits for podcasting, but it was really designed for meetings. And it'll, you can do things like, in addition to just taking the notes, you can query it. You can ask questions about the meeting, and it'll give you answers. And it's just a handy way to kind of remember stuff. And it all kind of saves it in its memory. So I can go back and see some meeting I had a week ago with Federico or whatever, and say, what did Federico say about X, Y, and Z? And it'll tell me what he said. And, it'll pull out the tasks and all that. It's pretty cool that way.
Yeah.
Granola.ai. If anybody wants to check it out, you can get 25 free meetings.
There you go, 25 of them. Look at that. So, yeah. Oh, cool. All right. Well,
it's made in the UK. Yeah, it's made in the UK too, Rob. So there you go.
Is it really?
It is. I think so.
Oh, yeah. Made with love in Shoreditch. Of course they're in Shoreditch. They wouldn't be anywhere else. Only get all of the startups are in Shoreditch.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, you're right. That's a good place to stop. Good talking to you again now that we're back and in 2025. So here we are.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. I'll speak to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.